Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button for more content.
Last night I went down to the Comedy Store, and they had actually had a memorial service for Robin Williams, and it was awesome, man. It was, just like so many people from back in the day came out that were down there. I'm wondering when the last time all of that group of people were down there. And they were all telling stories. It was like, I got there late, unfortunately. But Norm Macdonald, Yakov Smirnoff had some great stories. Jackson Purdue. Then there's a couple of people that were in part of his improv group. We're all telling all these great stories, and it was a really great thing. But I got to tell you, man, that was it's not like I knew the guy or anything, but that was brutal when I heard the news about that one. That one really, there's one of those things where you think, yeah, I love that guy. I love his movies. I think that guy's hilarious. You don't realize it, and then something like that happens. You're just like, wow, man, I had no idea how much that guy affected me. I did get a chance one time to do a show with him. He always, he would just come down to clubs. I'd always heard about it. I know he did it. He lived up in San Francisco, but people were saying like, yeah, there's this open mic he went to every single week. Bartnick told this great story about, how he was at a concert. He was kind of like the unofficial mayor of like San Francisco when they needed like a laugh or something. Like, I guess Bartnick was at some big concert, and it was an outdoor thing, and it rained. And, so they're like, apologize, everybody, the bands can't go on. Everybody's standing there looking like a bunch of wet sheltered dogs and stuff. And Robin Williams was in the crowd, and he just went up on stage in like a rain poncho and did 45 minutes in front of a soaking wet, angry crowd that wasn't getting their show. And he just did like a headlining set. And then in the end, like the sun was coming out, and he's like, all right, the bands are coming out, blah, 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 and just went right back into the crowd. It was like a zillion stories like that I heard. And, so anyways, I was doing, Jeff Garland had this show he does, every now and again down at the UCB. And, it's this really cool format. In the end, he has like this improv game called, the Combo Platter. And it's basically, they pick a subject and each person has to go up and riff on it for 5 minutes. And then you sit down, and then the next round is you go back up again, but anybody can interrupt anybody at any time. And it just starts going, you just start adding to whatever they're doing. And one night I went down there and I was doing the show with them, and Robin showed up. And Garland knew him and everything, and they went in with the show, and I actually got to do improv. I was standing right next to him doing improv. I literally felt like I was on Comic Relief, I mean, we were sitting in the chairs, right? It's just like such a weird moment, but I was sitting in the chair next to him. He had that thick arm hair. It's like the space between us was a little tight, but it wasn't anywhere where we still should have been touching. But his arm hair was so thick, it actually was touching my arm. I had to move my arm. I remember thinking all those jokes that he used to do about how he felt like he was wearing a sweater and all that type of thing. But it was obviously one of the great things I ever got to do. And fortunately, because he was such an open guy and such a nice guy, sweet guy, he didn't come in with that, I've been doing this forever, get out of the way, kid. He didn't have that vibe at all. He was like a really vulnerable kind of vibe, that because he came with that vibe, I was actually able to like enjoy it as it was happening, rather than look back on it and be like, oh, I got to do that, but I was so in my head I had to like knock him down, That's like something I have to do sometimes when I get a gig that's so big. I literally have to develop a certain level of hatred for this person that I don't hate. His success or whatever. But the way Robin was, you didn't have to do that when you're around him. So, thanks to Jeff Garland for fucking, having that show so I could have that memory. But it's definitely a huge fucking, indescribable, loss. And I hate that it ends that way. You know? So anyways, isn't that happy? Isn't that happy to have to talk about that? Yet another person in this business. You know what was weird is I got like 3 texts within 24 hours of Robin's death, you know, asking me if I was okay and then telling me not to kill myself. And that just struck me as funny. Like, it's like depression and suicide are not like a, like a stand, like if a plumber kills himself, do people reach out to other plumbers? Hey man, I know you haven't got a lot of sinks lately. It's been mostly toilets and, you know, just reaching out that, you know, it's going to turn around, you know? You know? Look, I'm not a doctor, but I know that shit, it definitely affects, you know, a lot of people. I mean, I've dealt with, you know, unfortunately, and it's been people outside of stand-up. Let's see, I gotta like count. I think it's 3. Yeah, 3 people that I know, you know, committed suicide. So I got this, you know, I don't know. I see somebody start to go down that the depressed road. It's so hard to get them off it. I don't know. All I know is it sucks. So, all right. Let's get back to diseases and talking about dying or whatever. I'm calling 2072 for me. I want to see the 70s again. That's why I'm trying to, well, that's not why I'm trying to eat right and exercise. I do it because I'm vain. You know? I just want to look good for you people. That's my new ending to the crying. You like that one? That's when I take it to another level. That long one makes Verzi laugh his ass off. Oh, Jesus, who is this? Oh, it's my brother. Hey, I'm doing my podcast. Can I call you right back? All right, cool. You know what's funny? As silly as that ringtone sounds, like if you gave that to anybody in Asia, they would start with that thing and then they would have like the most amazing, they could build that theme into the sickest like opening to an Olympic ceremony you've ever seen. You like that? That's called positive stereotypes. That music sounded Asian to me, so I connected it with Asian culture with a positive result. Is that also offensive? You know what I mean? If you just say stereotypical shit, but it's positive.